morning.
Good morning. How are you, Starr?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, good. Thank you. Thank you for the time for the lesson learned session and congratulations on passing the PMP exam.
Thanks.
Perfect. I was reading comments under your post and everybody was writing rock star.
Yeah, it's the benefit of having a name like Starr.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic, wonderful, wonderful. It's really a kind of happiness for me when I see students passing the PMP exam, and you pass so quickly. We just completed course in April, and today your PMP
Yeah.
certified. Wonderful. Okay. Thank you so much, Star, for this time. This would be really helpful for anybody who would be preparing for the PMP exam. So let's start with your brief introduction, specifically your project management experience.
Okay, so my project management experience was related to leading agile teams. So in that role, so it's sort of interesting because the PM role is modified, we should say, for agile. And so I worked at a company that has been doing agile for about 18 years. So they were early adopters. Uh, and And so in leading engineering teams, I was running projects.
Right, perfect. So, when did you start your PMP preparation and how much total time you spent in the entire preparation process?
I started my PMP preparation when I took your class.
Fantastic.
And and I honestly I did not prep that much. The hardest part for me was coming up with the 60 months of project work for the application. Um, in part because it had so many years of experience. And just so the biggest thing was learning the PMI, PMP process pieces, because the people pieces and the business pieces are universal, if you will. And so those I really knew. So using your notes, um, I honestly didn't study that much after our class even.
Oh, interesting. So, it means you prepared during the class.
Yeah. So I took good notes. In addition to your notes, I took notes in OneNote during the class. And for me, that's a good learning skill. And that helped commit it. I think that your post about 100 things
Yeah,
is really a good post because the biggest part of the PMP exam is getting in the mindset of the terminology for PMI,
absolutely.
right? So that's the biggest part of that for sure. Um, my biggest advice is don't stress. You get 3 tries.
Yeah.
I honestly took it the first time to get the feel for it, and then I ended up passing. Like, I didn't tell anyone I was sitting because I didn't want anybody to know, right? I'm
That's
like,
really
I'm just
practical.
gonna do this. I start a job next week, and so I had a goal of getting my PMP, at least sitting for it the first time before I started my job. Um, and so I was like, okay, this is it. I've got to do it on Wednesday. So I have the weekend to do it one more time. And yeah, and then I actually passed it relatively solidly. Process was my weakest part. Obviously, it was still passing, or I wouldn't be here.
That's fantastic. People spend months and months, go
I
through
know.
a lot of books, tons of resources, videos, YouTube and internet, and but still, they struggle. So it's really interesting to see that you stick to a few resources and
Hmm.
you crack the PMP exam. So what do you
Yeah.
think? How what was the distinguishing feature of those classes which made you prepare for the exam?
The organization, for sure. Very structured, very like there was no dilly-dallying, for lack of a better word, right? We were on task and we absolutely, um, like you would say, this is important for the PMP, and I would know, make sure you're committing this to memory. And you would call out things specifically about terminology, which was definitely my biggest hurdle, right? Like, this is what we call the fishbone. This is what we call the other charts. So, um, So all things I had done, but not necessarily named them.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, the idea of drawing those things is to make you understand that how these things actually look like, rather than just going through dry PowerPoints and just moving from one
Right,
to the next. So, those visuals, I think those were really helpful to understand those concepts.
right. They really are. And I did a lot of I do a lot of screen capturing.
Yeah.
And so if you said something was really important, I snipped it and put it in my OneNote because for
Yeah.
me, again, and that helps me commit it to memory.
Yeah, I recall that during the breakout rooms, you used to show those
Mhm.
screenshots to your fellows in that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that. Wonderful, fantastic. So,
So
Starr, did you solve any question mock tests?
I actually didn't end up mock testing. I had purchased your mock test
Yeah,
and I did about 7 of them, and
right.
then I found them troublesome.
Okay,
Not it's just how I work. I couldn't do them online. Like I
right,
couldn't, and so the effort to make it able to do it online or to keep track of my answers, I was like, you know what? That was actually a turning point for me. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take it and see how it goes. I get
right.
3 shots, you know. There that so that's and so that's that was actually a point for me, was the effort it was going to take to do that was as hard as taking the test for me. So
Yeah, absolutely. That's the great attitude. Like, just go for it, right?
right,
Don't
exactly.
hesitate.
And that would definitely be one of the things. You get more than one try, and it's not the end of the world. You can do what
Absolutely,
I did and not tell anybody but your family. I did
absolutely.
take it remotely. I didn't take it at a testing center.
Right.
I'm about 40 minutes away from a testing center. For me, that's worked great. I did it for another exam as well as this exam and had zero problems with my moderator.
Right. Fantastic. Wonderful. Okay. What are the areas that you saw that where students should be focusing on, like any specific topic from the entire exam content outline?
I'm thinking. I really think just grasping the PMI process,
Right.
the you solve it first, um, the empowering your teams.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to think of a place where I struggled. Oh, the other thing I would tell them is you can make comments. I didn't go in knowing that.
Yeah.
So on places where I was like, these two are really close, I wrote a little paragraph. I don't know if it mattered or not, but I wrote a little paragraph that said, this is what I would do in real life,
Right. That's
right?
interesting. That's interesting.
And so there were a couple of questions. I wish I could have the results, the real results of the exam, because then I could answer this question better. Because I don't really know what I missed. I just know that process was only light blue and the other two were dark blue. Um, uh, so I would utilize that. I honestly, they put it there. So if it makes a difference, if you want to explain your answer, then go for it. I did finish with probably 45 minutes to spare. Uh,
Fantastic.
I'm a I'm a standardized test taker. What can I say? Right. So I follow a very specific pattern. Answer it if I can't answer it, flag it for review. Don't spend a lot of time, right?
Absolutely.
And then I definitely had a lot to review. Use the reviewed methodology, go back through and verify your answer, explain your answer, whatever it is that you want to do. Because I think that people get caught up early trying to understand and trying to find the piece. And I think if you'll just give your brain a break and let it do its job, the things that you've already learned, you've already been in the class, you've already had your however many months of experience you had to document. You know this. You just need to let yourself do it and
Absolutely.
not second guess too much, not just go for it.
Yeah, a lot of students, they have fear of failure. What if we fail? And because of that, they don't take the test. They keep on
Yeah,
delaying, and delaying, and ultimately they leave it. Right? So yes, just go for it and don't hesitate.
exactly.
Don't have fear of failure. Yes, you have mentioned it rightly that you have years and years of experience, right? So PMI
Right.
exam is all about that experience. Perfect. Starr, a lot
Exactly.
of people ask how much time one should spend in the entire preparation process. How you would respond to this question? How much time is needed?
I didn't spend that much time. I really didn't. Not too much. I
Yeah.
think that your recommendation of taking it within a month is a really good one. And
Yes.
had it not taken me so long to document the 60 months, that was my goal. Like I had intended to do that. But when I got to documenting the 60 months and found out that they realized, and I'm sure you mentioned this, but that they couldn't be overlapping,
Yeah. Absolutely.
that made it much more challenging for me and was really pretty daunting. Once I
Yeah.
had done that, I was like, let's just do this. We've done the hard part. They've accepted our application. Let's just go for it. Um,
Absolutely. When I reviewed your
so
application and
mhm,
I made some change and I was like, okay, perfect, go for it and submit it.
mhm,
So yes, at that point I realized it will be accepted, right? Because the
right.
write-up was
And I
according to,
really appreciate your offer to do that. That gave me a lot of confidence
yeah,
in being able
absolutely,
to do it.
absolutely,
So
anytime. Perfect. Okay, wonderful. So during the exam, were you confident that you're going to pass the exam? How you were
no,
feeling?
not at all. I really wasn't. And then I didn't realize that it wasn't like other exams I've taken where you get your response right then. Which I should have, right? I should have read. It's in there, I'm sure. Um, but and so then I was like, well, we'll just see. There's literally nothing, but no, I really wasn't confident about it. There were definitely some areas where I was, again, people, business environment, those questions I knew I had down. Um, but the PMI has a standard and they have a way that they do things. And I wasn't sure I had that I had embraced it enough, right? Some of them I absolutely knew I knew. And some of them I was like, I don't know, maybe not. So I was pleasantly surprised that I passed it on the first one.
Fantastic, fantastic. So a similar question, did you see anything in the exam that we couldn't cover during the course?
I can't think of any question that I couldn't at least feel familiar with.
Okay, so you were familiar with
So
most of the questions.
oh yeah, absolutely. I at least like I might not remember what I was supposed to answer about it, but I was definitely familiar with most of them.
Absolutely. So during 4 days long course, we cover each and everything that is required to prepare for the exam,
Absolutely.
and in
You cover the
sufficient
entire
detail.
section. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that part is fantastic. That I definitely when I got there it was like these are all very familiar and had I taken it faster, I probably would have done even better,
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
right?
Yeah. Wonderful. So,
Mhm.
Starr, you have gone through the entire process, you completed the course, you have successfully passed the exam. How helpful this entire journey is in terms of learning new skill set. Like if somebody wants to take the PMP exam, um, should they expect that they would be learning something, or it is just a certificate?
Sure, you definitely learn again the officially accepted PMI methodology, right? There are a lot of ways to get things done, but this is a very standardized way. You definitely learn things that I didn't know and skills I hadn't been using. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. I asked this question because this is not a certificate. This is not just a piece of paper. You learn a lot of new stuff, new framework,
right.
new methodologies, the terminologies. So
Hmm.
the way you will be presenting yourself after the certification would be different from the way you were doing before. So it's really helpful
Absolutely.
in terms of learning as well. So, Starr, thank you so much. Your advice and your experience would be really helpful for anyone who would be taking the test. And one thing that I really admire about student is they take the course and then they take the exam. They don't delay. And you did that,
Right.
right? And I
Thanks.
recommend take the exam in 30 days, just get it done, move on, take the next target, right? So that's what
Right.
you
For
did. So
sure.
thank you so much, Starr, and I'm really happy. And once again, congratulations on PMP.
Thank you so much.
Take good care of yourself. Bye.
Bye.